happened right now is the fact that I forgot I want to call myself Daki and I said Victor. But anyways, cool enough, I'm also Victor, but then you guys call me Daki and it's nice not to be in your faces again this morning. Welcome to Gospel Life News. Want to say a big thank you to our fans out there for doing what you do. We love you guys so much. Want to say massive thank you, and it's been an amazing journey so far. We appreciate you, and we will never take you guys for granted. The year is running to an end, and we advise that you guys should be careful out there. If you must drive, don't drink. If you must drink, don't drive. And if I told you must drive without drinking, please and please drive at the barest minimum level. You don't need to speed up anywhere. The truth is this: wherever you're rushing to can always wait for you. So don't no rushing. Drive carefully and make sure you arrive home safely because we all need you alive. At the same time, you can now stream us live on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Look out for that space that is most convenient for you and catch us live there because we are waiting for you. Yesterday was filled up with mixed reactions after we discovered from some persons that allegedly Oladips is not dead, and it brought about reactions. People came out to insult him, saying all of that. But as it stands now, we are not sure if he's alive or dead. But then rumors have it that he's still alive, and all he did was just to chase clout at the time. We hope that in all of this conversation, the family comes out to give us a press statement to address all of these. We all know that at the time he is a Muslim person, and we know how their rites have been done. But so far, we don't have reports as it concerns his funeral and the like. So maybe the rumors are true, but then to clear all of these things out, we hope that the management or the family come out with a statement and clear all of this because their silence means a lot at this time. Moving on, we'll begin with another person, Oladips. We saw some days ago where he came out crying that he needed help and all of that, where his friend left him, and then he was questioning the friend saying, "Why would you leave me? I've told you countless times not to leave me alone in this house." And then we saw where the management came out on the page to announce his demise on the 14th day of November at exactly 10:14 p.m. They said we lost Oladips at the time. Just after that, we saw where his friend Zlatan came out mourning him, and all of those emotions was pouring out. It was really touching at the time coming from Zlatan. Moving on, we saw just after he died, we saw where he dropped his his album, which he called Superhero Adugbo, and that one at the time came out. And when it did, it's currently doing good numbers. It's 17-track album that has Superhero Adugbo, Ori, Aniyi Kaye, Wabilai, Jeze Ojota, Skusku, Ala Wahilai, Young Tunubu with Trod, Can't Sleep at Night, Angel Imura, Odia, Young Nigga Dream, Die Young, and Motivation, Agbawu Trenches, and Legend. And it's people came out saying it's a pity he was not around to see his album doing the numbers it was doing. And then we saw where he had a tweet around at a point where he said, "No one lives forever, so I have devoted my time on creating something that will outlive me. Aeons to come, this is what I will be remembered for, greatness." And he made this tweet at the time. And we saw when it was the album came out, it was currently doing good numbers. At the time, it sat at number 3 on the Apple Music album category. But moving on, we saw where Q Dot yesterday evening came out to announce that my G is alive, talking about Oladips. He posted this picture, and then on the caption of his picture, he said, "Oladips is alive," and then that sparked up reaction saying, "Could this be true or not?" Moving on, we saw amidst all of those conversations, Nigerians really were not happy with that, and they said, "Whether you're alive or not, we must continue with the funeral." And then it sounds funny because if he is alive, there is no need for funerals. But then people came saying you should not pull such stunts for clout anymore because it doesn't make sense and it is not the right way to go. Like I said, the album is doing good numbers, and as of yesterday, it currently sits at number 3 on the Apple album category. Moving on, we have Davido as the next guy on the news. We saw tomorrow on the 18th of November, Davido is storming the State Farm Arena with the Away Festival. Away means Are We African Yet? And then that festival is going to be happening in Atlanta at the State Farm Arena. And then he's saying, "I'm not coming alone, I'm coming with Victoni, Lil J, King Promise, Equal, Mayokon, TXC, Spinal, and Musa Keys." The host of the day is going to be no other person than the finest comedian of Nigeria, Bovi Ogbonna. Moving on, we saw Davido speaking on an interview, and then he said a whole lot at the time. Now, Davido, um, I think Davido comfort space is so far has been interviews and podcasts because this is where he gets to say his mind and how he feels about all of this. Davido came out to speak about a whole lot from Afrobeats to his personality. Now, to the state he was when he created a timeless album, he said he was in his house. He made the project in his house. He felt like a kid at the time, and because it was just him starting afresh again. And then he said all the work they've done before the demise of his son, he had to throw all of that away and began afresh again. And then he mentioned the fact that when he signed Moravi, whenever he walked in and saw Moravi recording, it motivated him and it made him also want to do more. He mentioned the fact that he worked with new producers and it was just an amazing journey for him so far. He also mentioned that on the project, the most challenging song he had was the one he did with Angelique Kidjo. And he said that one was the one that pushed him a little bit further, but he enjoyed every bit of it. He mentioned also that he didn't want to create an album where people would love it because he lost his son, even though that will come to play, but then he wanted a project that people will love because it is that good. Moving on, we saw where he came out to speak about the Away Festival, and then he said he wanted to create a space where Afrobeat Africans can enjoy, can know that okay, this is something we can do, a platform for youngins where they can just come and showcase what they can do to the bigger audience. He mentioned that he's going to get to a point at the Away Festival where he, as Davido, will get to sit down and do nothing because it is not about him. Away Festival is not a Davido festival. It is an Afrobeat festival. It's an African festival. It is a space to showcase your talent, whether you're a musician. He mentioned that for this year Away Festival, he's also looking at bringing in poets to come and talk about African food and culture. So basically, not just singing, but then representing the culture in a space. So he's saying this is not a Davido's thing. This is the African thingy, which represents our culture, our food, our clothes. Everything that will be done that day is going to be surely African, and that's why he called it "Are We African Yet?" Moving on, we saw where he also mentioned that moving on from now, the Way Festival is going to be a mobile one. This one happening at Atlanta. He mentioned that he's going to move in it, maybe Toronto next or LA or something, but then he is sure that it is not going to be a static event. It's going to be one that will go round and all of that. He also mentioned about the State Farm Arena that he wants to raise funds, funds for the event, want to create awareness and also raise money on the day. He mentioned that before now, he has previously raised 2 years ago, he mentioned that he raised about $500,000. And early this year, he also mentioned that last year he raised $500,000. And this year he mentioned that he also raised an amount of money. And then he's saying he wants to do it also at the State Farm Arena. We saw where he spoke about Afrobeat and the money inclination. He said for him, it is not just about doing an event. It is more of him making sure that he creates the right atmosphere for the audience before himself. He said when he did, he had a tour at DC at the time early in the year when the Timeless tour began. There was this tour he did at DC, and then he said the take home for the tour was $1.1 million. And then he said, but when they look at the expenses they've done, creating the set, creating all of this thingy, he mentioned that he spent about $600,000 to create sound, set, and all of that. He also mentioned that he could have just done the backdrop and all of that, but then he wanted to create something that his fans can relate to and enjoy. So basically, all of these things cost money, and then he has to spend a lot of money to achieve what he wants. He also said that's because if he wants to do this year again, next year, he could just do 3 days, then go on with $2 million and obviously spend $1 million for setup, sound, and the likes, which actually means a good calculation coming from OBO. He also talked about his son, and recently it was announced that he just gave birth to twins, and he spoke about them briefly. And you could just tell that at this point, Davido is deliberately not talking about his family online. He gathered them privately and obviously switched back to music and business to just show that, yes, my family must be kept private. Moving on from Davido, we have Rema as the next guy on the news. We saw Rema coming out to make a statement after he sold out the O2 space. And then in his word, he said, "Ravage uprising, my ancestors' bronzes sit in the museum of this very city, so I remade mine. Hence, Edo is redefined, the map reshaped, your mind awakened, and the mask reborn. Thank you, London, coming from Rema. We saw Rema and Gomez Calm Down have surpassed 1.1 billion streams on Spotify. And also, I Spice with Rema Pretty Girl have peaked at 29 on this week Billboard Canada chart, top 40. It has also spent 2 weeks on the chart. Moving on, we saw just after I made that statement, the governor of Edo State, His Excellency Godwin Obaseki, came forth on Twitter to say, "We are indeed proud of the enigma of Rema and what he has come to represent, especially his personification of the Edo heritage. We applaud his genuine and celebrate him as he takes the world stage by storm." Really amazing to see that your governor appreciates what you've done and they are standing solidly behind you with good remarks. So for Rema, we say thank you for putting Edo on the map. Thank you for putting Nigeria on the global stage. Moving on, we have Asake as the next guy on the news. We saw about this week, early in the week, with that announcement, him and HER came through with Lonely at the Top remix without announcement. They just came through and the song is doing good numbers as we speak. Moving on, we saw there was an acoustic version from HER where she did her own part of the song. And trust me, this might just be one of the best today on social media. Moving on, we saw Asake walk about to move from number 4 to number 2 on this top 50 album chart in Nigeria. It tallied 5.44 million on-demand streams during the week of November 3rd to November 9th. The equivalent of 3,630 album units have been sold, courtesy the turntable charts. And moving on, we saw on Spotify, Asake and HER and Our Music Lonely Top Remix is the highest new entry on Spotify daily top song in the country, currently sit at number 7. Also still on the collaboration they had, we saw the remix for the song Lonely at the Top, and we saw Asake and her currently working to shooting a video for the song. And in coming days, just next week, we could have the video for this. Finally, we saw Teni coming through to dropping a second album, and trust me, it is an amazing body of work. And then she had this to say about the project. She said, "The album is out everywhere now. Tears, blood, and sweat, and no, I put my all in this and gave it my best. I want to say thank you to God and everyone that helped me and supported throughout the process. Our baby is out. Hope you love it as much as I do. I'm going to go to bed now and turn off my phone just because I've waited for this day like forever. See you all in the morning. Hopefully, you all have your favorite song by then and you can tell me all about it." Thoughts by Teni, an amazing body of work she has done, and trust us to say it is very decent, and we wish her the best as that album begins to rack numbers. My name is Daki. We'll catch you guys on the very next